This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, guys. Today we are discussing about deferrable constraint and sequences and default keyword. Three concepts: deferrable constraint, sequences, and last one is what is that? Default keyword. What is a deferrable constraint? Every day we are discussing about constraints, but what is the meaning of deferrable constraint? See, in the last session, we defined primary key, and after some time we disable primary key, and then we are entering invalid data into primary key column. Then primary key column is accepting invalid data if it is in disabled mode. Okay, after invalid data entered, if you try to enable primary key, it is not enabling, it is giving a message. So primary key violated since the column is having invalid data. So, but deferrable constraint means, listen carefully, any constraint, you can define any constraint as a deferrable constraint, except not null. See, deferrable constraint means you can define a constraint as deferrable. If I define like that, what is the benefit? See, define the constraint. What type of constraint? Deferrable constraint. Okay. Disable the constraint. Enter valid data and also invalid data. Column accepted. Why? Because it was disabled. So now your column is having valid values and also invalid values. After some time, enable the constraint. So if it is deferrable constraint, it will be enabled. If it is a normal constraint, it will not enabled. Some people can argue with me, sir, constraints are defining for validity, but deferrable constraint is accepting invalid data. Then why we have to define deferrable constraint? There is a reason. Listen, suppose you have a business. You don't know what is Oracle and you don't know how to maintain business data in any database. You don't know that. Every day business is going on manually or in the computer. You are maintaining data in the form of text files, notepad files, or Excel sheets. Right now your business data is in Excel sheet or notepad file. Understand? Then see, in the Excel sheet or notepad file, you are unable to define any constraints. You are unable to define any business rules. Sometimes some employee IDs are missing. Sometimes employee IDs are duplicated. So why? Because there are no automatic rules on that page, whatever the Excel sheet or notepad file. So it will accept any type of data. Okay. Now what is my target is, after some time I want to maintain my business data in any database. If I maintain like that, first advantage, the visibility of the business to the public. So in online, so many people can visit my website, my business website. So I can reach to the public easily. First advantage, if you maintain database for your business, then the business can reach, or business information can be reached to the public very rapidly and easily. First case. Second case, I can maintain the business data perfectly. We don't get any problems in the data. We don't miss any data. So then I am ready to develop, means I am ready to request a company to develop a database for my business. So what I will explain my requirement, in which way I will explain. See, I have this business. This is the information. We are maintaining data like this. So I need all business old data. Okay. And also, once database completed, from that day onwards, I don't want to accept invalid data. See, whatever happened in the past, don't worry about it. Already it was happened. But whatever happening in future, I don't want to accept any duplicate values or invalid data, and I don't want to accept any wrong values. How can I do that? Then the database developers will define the constraints as deferrable constraints. The database developers can define the constraints as deferrable constraint. Why? Because they will define constraint, disable the constraint, then insert all old data. Where is old data? Notepad file or Excel sheet. In that data, we have some invalid values, even though it will be inserted. Why? Because your constraints are disabled right now. Okay. Okay. Old data inserted into the table. From today onwards, I don't want to accept invalid value. What should I do? I want to enable the constraint. If it is a general constraint, it is verifying old data also. If it is a deferrable constraint, it will not verify old data. Only it will verify upcoming data, future data. So in that business scenarios, we will define deferrable constraints. So this is all for your understandability. Let me simplify this. If you don't want to verify old values, and if you want to verify only new values from this moment, then always prefer deferrable constraint, right? How to define a constraint as a deferrable constraint? Same as column name, data type, size. Constraint, friendly name, constraint name, actual name. In up to yesterday, we know up to here. This part we know that. But from today onwards, what we are doing, after this constraint name, just specify the keyword deferrable. Suppose this is primary key. That primary key is defined as deferrable primary key. So this primary key will never verify any old data, but it will verify the data once it was enabled. So how to enable any constraint generally? How to enable general constraint? Enable the constraint without validating old data. This is the use of deferrable constraint. Let me show you practically. System manager underscore 5. Alter session set container equal to orcl pdb and connect as Dinesh 830 slash welcome at the rate orcl pdb. Connected. Let me check the tables. Select star from tab. 8 rows are selected. Student, so and so, student. So let me select data from student. Select star from student. So these are the perfect table. There is no invalid data. All values are valid. Okay. Anyway, let me check the constraints. Or otherwise drop the table student. No problem. Drop table student and purge table student and create a table student again. Create table student and here roll number is a number of 2. It should be primary key. Constraint pk rno student. What type of constraint? Primary key. What type of primary key? Deferable. Okay. Next. Student name. Yes name. Varchar 2 of 10. And now student mobile number. Only I am maintaining 3 columns. Okay. Mobile number. It's a number of what is that number? 10. What type of constraint? Constraint UK mobile number under the table student unique. Observe carefully. This primary key is a deferable constraint. Unique is a general constraint. One constraint deferable, another constraint is general constraint. How to first disable 2 constraints? See, alter. Oh, I forgot about spooling. Spool C drive colon uh, users under that Dinesh under that desktop we have Oracle spool files under this spool I think 16.txt 16.txt enter spool file started. What is my target is disable above 2 constraints. Disable PK and UK. How to disable? Alter table name student, disable constraint PK RNO student. Disabled. Next, again, disable UK unique constraint UK mobile number student. Altered. 2 constraints are disabled. Now insert data. Insert records with valid and invalid values. Insert records with valid and invalid values. How to insert? Insert into student values. What are the values? Roll number 1. Student name A. Mobile number 9000. Again 900011. This is it's valid data. Next one. to here, let me insert duplicate mobile number. The student name B created. Now insert third record X here, same 900 so and so 22. So up to here primary key values are valid. Unique values are not valid. Okay, remember in the next record I am inserting duplicate roll number. Roll number 1 again. Student name C. Mobile number 33. Mobile number is valid. One row created. So duplicate roll number accepted. Duplicate mobile number accepted. Okay, one more. Let me insert without roll number. There is a null value. And Y. So mobile number 44. Right here. Select star from what is the table name? Student. This is the data. Null value is there. Invalid roll number is duplicated. Now I want to enable primary key. Now enable primary key on roll number column. How to enable? Listen, it is a deferable constraint. So alter table name student, enable no validate constraint. No validate constraint. What is the primary key constraint name? Primary key on roll number under the table student. Is it enabled or not? Yes, it is enabled because it is a deferable constraint. It won't verify old data. Okay, try to enable UK, unique constraint. Try to enable UK on mobile number. Impossible. Why? Because it is a general constraint. See, alter table. Table name is student. Enable constraint. Enable constraint UK defined on mobile number under the table student. What it is saying? Cannot validate. Sorry, I cannot validate because duplicate keys are found. First two roll numbers verify. Understand? So general constraint. If you want to enable it, old data should be first delete the existing constraint, then you can define it as a deferable constraint. Nagraj. See, if you want to enable general constraint, old data should be valid according and also new data should be valid. But deferable constraint don't verify old data. Generally in the live environment, we will do this action. What is that action? Defining deferable constraint, then disable deferable constraint, then enter all the data, load all the data. After that, enable deferable constraint. We will do this action only one time. If you are doing this again and again unnecessarily, automatically table has invalid data. So then what is the advantage even you are applying constraints? So we don't do this in the live environment. except one time. That's also depends on client requirement. Okay. Now, why unique constraint is not enabling since there are duplicate mobile number. I want to change second mobile number as a different mobile number. How to change? Update student set mobile number equal to 9000900012. It's a different mobile number. For whom you are changing this? Where roll number equal to 2. Updated. Okay. Now all values are different. Mobile number values are different. Now try to enable UK. Now try to enable UK. Alter table student enable constraint UK on the column mobile number under the table student. It will be enabled. But primary key already enabled even it is having invalid data. Since it is a deferrable constraint, it won't verify old data. This is about constraints. Hope you understand completely. Yes, you can change Nagras. Okay, now, so this is about constraints. Next one is, what is the default keyword? What is a sequence? First, let me discuss about the sequences. What is a sequence? Sequential numbers. Don't worry about sequence. What is a sequential number generally? See here, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a sequence. Next, 100, 200, 300. This is also called as sequence. -10, -20, -30, -40. This is also called as a sequence. In which case we will call this as a sequence. Sequence will be starting with a value, and next sequential number you will get with a fixed increment value. What is the fixed increment value? What is the increment value in the first sequence? +1 is there. You can take any two sequential numbers. And what is the second sequence increment value? +100. And here, what is the next sequence value? -10. -10. So if a sequential, one sequence of numbers beginning with one value, and there should be constant increment value in between any two sequential numbers, it is called as a sequence. How can I generate sequence automatically? How can I generate sequence automatically? By using database object sequence, we can generate sequential integers. By using the database object sequence, we can generate sequential numbers, sequential integers. By default, sequences beginning with 1 and default increment value is also 1. By default, sequence is beginning with 1, default increment value is also 1. But you can also specify different sequence beginning value and different increment value also. Means instead of increment value 1, I want to maintain increment value 100. Yes, you can maintain. So where we will use this? What is the advantage of this? Listen carefully. There is a customer. The customer is making a purchase. So he is purchased some product. So whenever he is purchasing products, see first product mobile. So immediately for along with the mobile information, they will maintain serial number of the mobile or his order ID. Order ID is not given by customer. Order ID is generated by business. Sales business people automatically generating order ID. Suppose if I buy mobile and next one headset. So it's a product. For the headset, there should be a different order ID. Order ID is there. Next one. So third product, I am purchasing something like speakers. So for the speaker, again, there should be order ID. So who is actually I am purchasing products? In the middle, who is generating this order ID? So somebody is there in the database. Who is that one? That is the sequence. Sequence is a database object. It is useful to generate sequential numbers. Sequential numbers. Generally, in the live environment, what is the purpose of sequence means? If you have primary key column, listen, in the same example, I want to explain something here. See, okay, here it is a order table. What is your table name? Order table. In the order table, it will maintain order ID automatically. Order ID generated automatically. So in this order ID column, they can define primary key. They can define primary key. See, according to this example, sequential numbers are automatically generated for primary key column if it is a numeric type column. Again, in the real-time environment, sequences are useful to generate primary key column values. Suppose here your sequential number is order ID is 100100011. This is the first order. Assume that this is the first order. Second order 100100012. Automatically it will maintain this. Second order. What is the third order ID? The third order ID is 100100013. Who is generating these orders? Sequence object is generating these order IDs. So its starting value is this and increment value plus 1. So the next record definitely will get next sequential number. There should be no null value There should be no duplicate value. Why? Because every time it is adding plus 1, you will never get duplicates, you will never get null values. In such cases, see vehicle registration numbers. Yeah, starting value we will define in the creation of sequence. Starting value we can define in the creation of sequence. Starting value we can define in the while we are creating sequence. Right? Now come to here. So we can create a sequence like this. Create sequence name. So all these, see here, each and every line I put it in square brackets. Means every one is optional. You may specify, you may not specify. If you don't specify, it will take default values. If you specify, it will consider your values. See, if I don't specify this part completely, sequence created, what is the start value? 1. What is increment value? 1. No, sir, I want to start with 1001. Then you have to write start with 1001. Next value, I want to maintain increment value 10. Then increment by 10. So each and every value should be specified by you. Otherwise, sequence is created with default values. Understand? And one more question. See, sequence is not a dependent object. Sequence is not a dependent object. Means we cannot find out which tables are maintaining this sequence or which tables are using this sequence. You cannot identify. It should be identified from the documents only, not from the tables. Or otherwise, you have to verify table definition. Then you can identify. There is no direct way. Okay, now I know how to create a sequence. Then, in which way I can use the sequence value? Whenever you are inserting records, you can use a sequence value. Whenever you are updating a column, you can update that column values with the sequence values. And in Oracle 12c, we can define a sequence value as a default value. You can define a sequence value as a default value. In Oracle 12c, we can define a sequence value as a default value. Guys, one question straight away I am saying. If I get any unnecessary questions from the students or unrelated questions, you will be the losers. Be careful. If you make any mistake, it will be impact all the students in the session. So before asking any question, please be relevant. So patiently I am answering for the questions. Actually, if I am not taking the class from the Durgasoft, in other classes I have online students from the USA, UK or Australia. We will never answer in the middle of the session. Nagraj, I am saying to you only. I don't know why did you ask that make me as presenter. See, in which way we can use sequence values. We can insert sequence values with insert command. We can use sequence values with update command. In Oracle 12c, we can also define sequence value as default value. What is default value? Within few minutes you can understand. First of all, how to create a sequence? Create sequence name. Enough. What will happen? The sequence is created with default start value, default increment value. For any sequence, we have two virtual columns, that is curval and next val. What is curval? Current value of sequence. It is a virtual column. It contains current value of the sequence. Next val, it maintains next value of the sequence. So if you want to see current value of sequence or next value of sequence, use these two in this way. Select sequence name dot next val from GUI. It will give the next value. Let me show you practically. Here, I want to see the structure of a student table. So roll number is there. Let me delete the column roll number. First of all, delete the data. So truncate table. What is the table name? Student. And delete the column RNO. Alter table RNO. Alter table student. Drop column RNO. And then see, select star from student. We don't have any records. Describe student. You have only two columns, yes name and mobile number. I want to add one more column. Alter table student ID. Alter table student, add what I am adding. Column student ID. It's a number of 4. It's a number of 4. And define a constraint. Constraint primary key student ID under the table student primary key. Okay, column added. My target is I want to generate student ID values from a sequence. Create a sequence to generate student ID values. Stud ID values. How to create a sequence? Create sequence. Sequence name student roll number. My sequence name is student RNO. Start with 1001. Sequence is created. Once sequence is created, you can use the sequence value whenever you are inserting records into the table. See, insert into, what is the table name? Student. Values. What are the values? Here, values are first column S name A, and then next column mobile number 99900099991. Next, student ID. I don't want to give any student ID. Student ID should be taken from sequence. What is the sequence name? Stud RNO. Stud RNO dot next val. One row created. Whenever you are inserting records, then we can insert a value from sequence. Let me insert second record B. Last mobile number 2 and student RNO dot next val. Let me insert third record X and here 3 and again enter. What will happen? Check data from the table. Select star from student. Student ID is automatically generated. Okay. Let me take another table stud. Already we have a table stud. Select star from stud. This is the table. Here you have RNO. Let me delete RNO. Alter table stud drop column RNO. So here once column is dropped, you have only 4 columns. Let me add a column. Let me add a column. Roll number again. Alter table stud add. What you are adding? Roll number. It's a number of 4. Table altered. After adding roll number column, you can see roll number column in the last. Into this roll number column, I want to create a roll number for each student automatically. I want to generate roll number automatically. Means this is a null value right now. Every student roll number is null value. How can I change roll number from sequence values? Here, update RNO column with the values from sequence stud RNO. It is a sequence name. So how can I update? Update stud set RNO is equal to stud RNO dot next val. 5 rows updated. After updation, check data. Actually, stud RNO is created for student table. I am using the sequence in the student table and also in the stud table. Generally, in the live environment, one sequence dedicated for one table only. We don't use the sequence value in the multiple tables. It's not the right way to maintain the information. But here, why I am using, already I told you, sequences are independent objects. They are not dedicated to any one table. You can use the sequence value in any number of tables. For that statement, I am using same sequence in the first table and in the second table. So what is the current value of the sequence? How do I get it? Select sequence student RNO dot curval from Dual. Select stud RNO dot curval from Dual. And similarly, if you want to see the next val from Dual. Suppose you have one interview question. Can I change sequence increment value? Can I change sequence increment value? Yes, you can change. See, present increment value plus 1, alter sequence, sequence name stood RNO, increment by 100, altered. Now check the next value from the same sequence, 1008, 1009 plus 1 is the sequence increment value. But now last value is 1009, present value is 1109 because of it was altered with increment by 100. Hope you understand. So in this way we can create a sequence and we can use along with the insert command along with update command. See how to delete a sequence, drop sequence, sequence name, how to find out all sequence names. You can get like this: select sequence name from user underscore sequences. Select sequence name from user underscore sequences. Then it will display all sequence names from your current user account. What is default? You can define a default value into a column. You can define a default value into a column. Means if you don't insert any value into that column, if you don't insert any value into that column is populated with default value. Suppose student table is there. I want to maintain course name is Oracle. I don't want to accept other courses. I want to maintain only Oracle. Listen, you can define default value into course column as Oracle. So at the time of inserting records, don't enter any value into course column. The course value automatically inserted as Oracle. It's automatic. So what is the default keyword purpose? You can define a value as a default value into a column. In Oracle 12c, we have a new feature. We can define sequence value also as a default value. We can define sequence value as a default value. Table is not existed. Let me create a table cust. Here, to create a table cust, before that, I want to create a sequence. Create sequence customer ID. Customer ID. Start with 1122. Increment by 11. Sequence created. Now create a table. Create table cust. First one, customer ID. Customer ID. Customer ID is a number of, let me take it as a 6. What is customer ID? I don't enter any customer ID. Customer ID should be automatically generated. So we can define a default value. Default value into this column is, where is the value? Sequence. Take the value from sequence. Customer ID is the sequence. From here, take next value. So what is the meaning of this? Defining a column with default value. What is the default value into this column? The default value coming from sequence. If you don't enter any value into this, then the default value is coming from sequence. Okay, next name. It's like varchar2 of 10. Finish. And city of the customer. City is also varchar2 of 10. Default city is HYD, or let me take it as 15 and see default. What is the default value into city column? Hyderabad. The default value is so and so. Listen carefully. Two column values defined as default values. First default value coming from sequence. It's not value, it is coming from sequence. So don't use single quotes. Don't use single quotes. But in the last line, default, it is a value. So if you directly specify any value here, specify the value inside single quotes. Table created. How many columns in the table? 3 columns. Out of 3 columns, 2 columns are default columns. 2 columns are default columns. So it is not necessary to enter any value into default columns. Only enter customer name. Insert into cust. Into which column you are inserting? Name. Values. What are the values you are inserting? Venkat. First one. Next one is Krish. Next one is Madhu. So 3 records inserted. Let me insert one more. Kiran. One more. Ravi. Insert these records. Now verify what is the data in the table. Select star from cust. I am not inserting customer ID, but customer ID is automatically generated by sequence and it is populated with custody. Remember guys, don't use this line if you are practicing with 11G. All of you, it is a new feature in Oracle 12C. We can insert sequence value into table. How? Whenever you are inserting, you should write sequence name dot next val. You can insert, update, but you cannot define sequence value as a default value. It's a new feature introduced in 12C onwards only. It is not working under 11G. This is valid. You can work with this last line, no problem. So here, customer ID is automatically generated and names provided by you and city value automatically fixed with Hyderabad. Hope you understand. So what is a sequence? To generate sequential numbers. So merge statement we will see after joins and subqueries, not right now. So this is about default and sequences. Tomorrow we will start about next concept. I think it is set operators, after that joins. That's all for today. Thank you all of you. Very good. Here I have a question. Hold on guys, 1 minute. Farid is asking, sir, if the customer city is different, or not aware, then we can use null. Good. See here. It's a perfect relevant question. Listen, all of you. See, sir, if I don't know the city of the customer, okay, or he is from Mumbai, not from Hyderabad. Yeah, Munir. Yeah, uh, he is from Mumbai. So can I actually, what is the default value in the city? Hyderabad. But the customer is from which city? Mumbai. So can I enter a different value into default column? Yes. See, let me insert one more record. Here I am inserting name and city. If you don't insert any value, column is populated with Hyderabad. So here, Rock. He is from Mumbai. Accepted. Next one, Rajan. I don't know he is from which city. Accepted or not? Into city value, default column it is. Default value. You can also insert different city values. And also you can maintain null values if it is necessary. Now check the data. Into city column, we can also insert different values and also null values. Immediately some people asked me, sir, if we accept different values, what is the benefit of default? See, suppose if you want to maintain only Hyderabad, I don't want to accept null value, I don't want to accept any other city value. In that case, same process, nothing is there, same process. Define the default value Hyderabad, and also you should define a constraint on the column. So the constraint value, check city value should be equal to Hyderabad. If it is different city, then don't accept. If it is null, don't accept. The value should be Hyderabad. So if you want to keep the default value as it is for all the records, you don't want to change. In that case, you should also define check constraint on the default column. If you don't worry with the different values, then leave it. Now it can accept different city values as well as different null values. That's all for today. And rest of the part we will see tomorrow. Thank you all of you.